Hello everyone, welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have Matt. Matt is from London in England, in the UK. So let's see what Matt has to say. Enjoy the interview. How are you, Matt? You okay?
Very good, thank you. Yourself?
I'm very well. Thanks so much for taking the time today for the interview. Thank you.
No worries.
So how's your day been so far?
Busy, just working my day job. I work as a visual effects artist, so that's my bread and butter, which pays for all the film stuff that I do on the side.
I see. So what do you do for a living?
I work as a visual effects artist, so I do effects for TV and film. So sort of removing things that shouldn't be there, inserting things into shots, all the kind of movie magic stuff, basically.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Wow. Wow. And how long have you been working as at your profession right now?
About sort of 15 years now, actually. Yeah, quite a while.
Amazing. And what do you like the most about your job?
I'll be honest, I'm trying to get out of my job. I'm trying to sort of move into doing sort of full-time film work. I mean, visual effects is quite sort of a challenge, and it's fun to every shot you get is like a sort of little puzzle that you need to sort of to fix and work with. But I have after 15 years, it's started to get a little bit repetitive. So I'm looking forward to directing more films, and doing that sort of thing, and trying to move into that sort of sector really.
Amazing, Matt. Amazing. And where are you from?
I'm from London. Sorry, I live in London, I should say, but I'm actually from Bournemouth on the south coast of England originally. Yeah.
Actually, I've been there once a few years ago.
Yeah, it's a nice place. I mean, I go back there occasionally, but it's sort of my parents are expats. They moved to France when I was quite young, so I sort of moved between France and Bournemouth quite a lot. So sort of France also feels a bit like home, even though I'm not really from there. But yeah, sort of France, Bournemouth. And I've been living in London now for about sort of I guess 12, 15 years now.
Okay. Right, so before we start our journey, Will and the Magic Box, would you like to tell me something interesting about yourself?
Something interesting about myself. I don't know. Full disclosure, I'm really bad at coming up with like quick things on the spot. So this could be a very interesting experience. Interesting things. I do lots of different stuff. I do lots of music. I do photography. I'm a filmmaker. I love learning languages. Lots of things. I find I like picking up new skills quite quickly. That's something. I guess that's something interesting that I try to pride myself on, I suppose.
For sure, you're a busy man, I can see.
Yeah.
Amazing. It's good to be busy. It's good to be exploring different areas, different. You never know the opportunities come along. So it's always good to be open-minded and just exploring, new challenges and experiences as well.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Matt, are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through your memories in life and to share your point of views?
Sure, why not? Let's do it.
Amazing. Welcome to William and the Magic Box. So this is my best friend. Okay, flow from the fun questions. So I'm just going to play a song now just for us to relax a bit before the first question, okay?
Okay, cool. No
Let's do it. Right, before we start the game, Matt, during the journey, if it comes up a question that you don't want to talk about for some reason, you don't want to answer, always can change, okay?
Sure, absolutely.
First question for you is, when have you been the most happy?
The most happy, I think, was probably the world premiere of my film when it finally came out last year in March. It was a pretty amazing experience, having sort of had 5 years working this big thing and then finally having a massive audience of 450 people seeing it and responding well to it. That was a pretty happy moment. It's quite difficult to top that, really.
Oh, wow. So tell me a little bit about your movie.
So it's a gay romance film about two equally attached men in a gay rugby club, and they have this adulterous affair, and ultimately they have to decide what to put first, this new romance or their club, which is sort of very fractured, and their relationship could potentially end this rugby club that they're a part of and they love. So that's the premise of the feature.
That's amazing. And what's the name of the movie?
In From the Side.
In From the Side. Wow, amazing. Next question. Let's do it. Right. Next question is, who do you count the most for help?
Who do I count on most for help?
Yeah.
I don't know, to be honest. Who do I count for help? I suppose probably one of my partners. Obviously, I have three lovely boyfriends, and they are my rocks, and I absolutely rely on them for for whenever I got a problem. We always talk about things, so probably one of them. That'd be who I'd rely on most for help.
Amazing. And all your partners, they live as well in London?
One does, and one lives in Brighton, and one lives in Zurich. So a bit sort of mix, but we all get together, and it's all quite nice when we actually have proper family time together.
Wow, amazing. Good one. Next question. Right, before the next question, tell me what you like the most about living in London after those years? And the flip side, what do you find most challenging?
The best thing about London, I think, is the fact that it's so alive and there's so much culture and there's always something to do. If you go into central London, it feels so busy. There's so many good places to eat. There's so many sort of shows that you can fill your time very easily with things. I think maybe the downside is it can feel a little bit lonely sometimes because there's always just so much to do that sometimes you can feel a bit lost if you're not filling your time and everyone's busy doing something. So it could be a flip side of both, really. It can feel like it's a very busy town, but it can also feel a bit lonely sometimes as well.
And do you see yourself living in London for a long while?
I think so. I mean, I own a property here, and the film industry is very much London centric. Yeah, I think unless I moved abroad somewhere sort of completely different, maybe to America, I think in England, I think London's the place for me. Yeah.
All right. Next question is: do you know anyone who is living their life to the fullest?
I know lots of people live their lives first. I probably do to some extent. I mean, I think we can all live our life a little bit fuller, but I think we fill our lives with. I certainly fill my life with quite a lot of things to do. I'm always doing some new hobby or something, or going somewhere. I think my boyfriend Ricky, he definitely lives a life to the fullest. He's always doing something. He can never sit still. So probably, yeah, definitely Ricky, I think.
Do you consider yourself to be more a day or night person?
Day. Yeah, I get very tired about midnight, and I'm definitely not a night owl. I wish.
Always been early person. Yeah. Okay. Next one. Let's do it. Hey, Matt from London. Next question is: are you a cat or a dog person? And if you could be an animal, which one that would be and why?
I'm definitely a cat person. I'm sorry for all the dog lovers out there. I like animals that respect your personal space, and dogs are very like up in your face. And I don't think you really train that out of dogs because that's kind of their nature. Whereas cats, I think, are a bit more. Cats are a bit like very sort of sarcastic people, and they've got a lot of personality, and I quite like that.
Yeah.
And also they're very self-maintaining. They clean up their own mess. And I think I find them fascinating as animals. What animal would I like to be? I think it'd be pretty good to be a cat. I mean, you get to live a pretty nice life, but I think I don't know, to be honest. That's a difficult one. I have to pass on that one. What animal I'd like to be? I'm not sure.
I think cats, they are in charge of the house. No, they are the king or the queen of the house. You know what I mean?
Cats own us, whereas we own dogs. I think that, that's the way cats view it. I think they very much think that we are their property.
Once somebody told me that dogs, they adapt to people, and cats, they adapt to places. Makes us
a good way of thinking about it. Yeah, I think that's probably true.
Ready for another one?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Next question. Next question is: what would your theme song be if you had your own show?
Probably what I'd write myself, I think, because that's the joke that everyone makes is, I wrote a lot of the music for my own film, including the closing credits track. So everyone sort of goes, write the theme tune, sing the theme tune. So I guess it would have to be something I'd written, I suppose, just to sort of play up to that, I guess.
Tell me something, Matt. What was the idea to create the movie? Tell me from when the creation started. What was the message behind?
So, I mean, I've been involved with sort of inclusive rugby now for about sort of 9 years. So that's sort of rugby that's very much welcoming towards LGBTQ plus people. And, it's been my life for quite a long time. And I thought that was a really interesting world with a lot of sort of cultural elements that I thought would lend itself really well to a film, and especially a world that rugby generally isn't something we've really seen very much in TV and film. So I wanted to have something that would show that, but also to show the kind of love and the camaraderie that environment has, and to show kind of that sport is for everyone. because I think as gay men, we often feel we've had a bad experience with sport in school. And it kind of puts us off ever doing it again. And actually, you can rediscover sport as an adult and all the sort of benefits that that can bring. And I kind of wanted to make a film about that, but also to sort of tell a love story that essentially, as we're quite often used to seeing gay films that deal with a lot of homophobia and coming out stories. And I feel like that's kind of been done to death a bit. I mean, there's important stories, but I mean, it's almost like every story we tell is that. So I wanted to make a film that had no homophobia, no coming out storylines. And when you remove that, it gives you so much time to kind of explore all the other stuff. And I thought that was really interesting. So those are the kind of motivations behind why we wanted to make the film, really.
Amazing. And how long did it take for you to put the whole thing together?
So we wrote the script, my co-writer and I, Adam Silver, in about a year and a half, 2 years. We took to write the script. We took our time over it because it's quite a dense script. There's a lot of sort of plot and story and characters, and we wanted to get that right before we kind of went into production. We shot back in January and February 2019, so pre-pandemic. And then it took me about 2 years to finish the film and all the post-production because unfortunately I was pretty much mostly doing that myself. So I had to edit the film, I had to write the music, I had to sort of edit the sound. And it was that was quite a lot of work. I did like an animated closing credit sequence, and unfortunately doing everything on your own with a small budget, it does take a lot of time, unfortunately. So finally finished the film after about sort of 4 years of sort of working on the whole thing from start to finish, maybe 5 years, sort of that sort of time, really.
That's amazing. And are you planning to come up with a new movie or something or not for now?
Yeah, I've got a few ideas for other feature films, and obviously everyone and their mother has been asking for a sequel, and we're not deaf. We have heard this, so we're sort of thinking about potential ideas for that, but no promises. I think we invested a lot of time in telling the story we told, and I think if someone wants to commission, a follow-up, film or TV series, maybe, then we'd consider doing that. But I think I put a lot of time into a low-budget film, and if we're gonna do that again, I think it would be a different idea unless someone else is going to pay for a sequel. So yeah.
Amazing, very good. Next question, let's do it. Next question is, which person do you talk to the most?
Again, probably one of my partners, probably Dom or Ricky. We chat most times throughout the day. Ricky especially, he's always messaging me. So probably, yeah, we chat the most. We're always on the phone or chatting to each other pretty much throughout the day. We kind of know almost everything that's happening in each other's lives, really.
Tell me something. How is maintaining a polyamorous relationship? What do you find the great part of it, and what do you find a bit challenging?
I think the great part of it is you have a sort of big, almost like a family around you, like a support system. And I think in a monogamous sort of single person relationship, if you have a fight, you're kind of at odds with that person. Whereas if you have had a little falling out, you can talk to other people and say, I think this is how they're feeling, and you can talk. You have more people to talk to and more support. I think the challenge, obviously, I think if I'm honest, is finding the time to balance everyone. Someone once said that polyamory is basically just scheduling fetish, and there's definitely something in that trying to find time to fit everything in your week and all the other things. But we have a lot of time where we'll get together as well. We sort of go on holiday together. So yeah, it's very nice. I think it's something that, it's probably been going on for thousands of years, but we talk about it so much. And actually, now people are being more open about, polyamorous relationships and situations. And I think it's definitely not something I thought originally that, would be something would be for me, but actually it's been very good for me. And I think I absolutely love it. And I wouldn't change it for the world.
It's very interesting. I had so many couples and people here on the show that they have a polyamorous relationship. And it's very interesting because when I started doing this show 2 years ago, I never heard before about the term. And I remember, as you said, nowadays people, they are more open and talk more about it. And I remember one of the first guests I had on the show, and he started talking about the relationship. I was so confused. And I was like, oh my God, am I understanding? Or, it took me a while to, and I know which interview is. I can see my face like, my God. So, because I was trying to work it out. And he kind of explained. And it's so interesting because somehow it opens people's mind to understand that, it's a relationship. It doesn't matter how many people are involved, as long as everyone are happy, as you said, everyone is happy, everyone is, having the best of their lives. I think there are no rules, and people, they are more open and they talk more open about it nowadays.
I think in some ways you sort of make your own rules, and every relationship is different. I suppose like any sort of, couple is different. I think you very much, there are no rules in life generally, as long as everyone's happy. And I think in some ways, a lot of people aren't familiar with it, so it can seem so strange to them. And that, but actually having multiple committed partners, and if you're happy with that, and you're all sort of, you process. Obviously, jealousy can be a thing in the early days, but generally you can get over that quite quickly. I mean, at least we did. But I think there's a lot of pressure if you're with just one person, for them to sort of satisfy every single thing in your life, intellectually, sexually, and I think that could put a lot of strain on a relationship. I know this is obviously with monogamy and open relationships as well, as a discussion that people have. Do you get little bits and things fulfilled by other people? But in some ways, I think having we're open as well, but actually we're very committed romantically just to each other, and that freedom means we never feel sort of trapped. I've never felt trapped in the situation. In fact, I feel very more content than I've ever felt in a single person. Well, a standard couple, let's say. And it's lovely. And it's only the way I describe it. Really, it's just really nice, and it makes me very, very happy. Yeah.
And when was the idea for you to start? Do you remember when was the moment that you said, "Okay, I'm gonna try out a polyamorous relationship"?
Well, when I first met my first sort of partner, Dominic, we met on a night out. He had a pre-existing partner for about sort of 12 years, and I met them both. I met them both at the same time, and we all clicked. I mean, Dominic and I clicked and we sort of developed this relationship. And then I think Jamie realized that, because they were open, that I was going to be a more permanent fixture in their life. And so then I started being involved with Jamie. And so we were, I guess, initially a throuple for, a number of years, about sort of 6-7 years now, actually. Wow. And then I met Ricky about four and a bit years ago. And again, we had that instant spark, and we sort of tried very hard to be friends for a while. And I think realized that actually, we were already polyamorous anyway. So it was just, became a kind of, Ricky has his own partner as well. So, but he often sort of keeps separate from, me and my other two. I know it sounds so complicated trying to describe it. A lot of people say they need a diagram for everything, but in some sense, it's actually quite simple when when you're involved in it. But it's just really lovely, and it just feels like a big family. And I think everyone's very happy, and that's the important thing.
That's what matters. Right, I have 3 questions left for you. Let's do it. Matt, before the next one, tell me what do you like the most about creating a movie? What's the big joy of it?
I think the biggest joy, I love the long process. It's, making a film is almost the ultimate in delayed gratification. You work so hard on something for so long, knowing that down the line, it's all going to pay off. And I think it's lovely to be now in the period where it's all paying off. And it's crazy. I get about 50 messages a day sometimes, of people who've seen the film, who connected with it. And it's just the gift that keeps on giving, in a way. I just get all these lovely messages, and it's lovely to see people connecting with, the story that you worked so hard to tell. So I think that's the kind of the biggest fun. And I knew that was like, you never know if it's going to be well received, but that the payoff is coming later. But what a payoff it's been, it's been so wonderful. So I guess that's the biggest sort of nice bit of the process. I also think I love shooting. I love being on set and being in that creative flow, and knowing you're creating something. That's really exciting as well. So I think probably those are the 2, I guess, most fun parts for me of movie making.
Amazing. Right. Next question is, what is your all-time favorite band and why?
Fleetwood Mac. That's an easy one. I absolutely love Fleetwood Mac. I think I remember hearing Rumours was my favorite album. My parents gave me a lovely sort of music education by sort of playing lots of music from before my time, and I always just loved Fleetwood Mac so much. And I went to see them live a number of years ago, and I just thought, it's just so good. Just it's also the story behind them, the number of members of the band who joined and left. Like, it's such an interesting band story, but also they've got such a diversity of singers. Lots of male and female singers, Stevie Nicks, Christine McVie, and so every song has like a different feel to it, but there's a connecting tissue between them, and I just love it. I absolutely love Fleetwood Mac, and that's an easy one for me.
Top 3 favorite songs.
I guess Dreams is the top, because it's just a classic. I think Go Your Own Way is pretty good, and I think I'm trying to pick an unusual one for a third one. Landslide's pretty good. It's quite sort of sweet and somber. I'll probably regret saying that as number 3, but I think, let's go with that. So Dreams, Go Your Own Way, and Landslide, I think they're pretty good for the top 3 for Fleetwood Mac.
Amazing. 2 questions left. Let's do it. Next one is, define yourself in a season of the year and why.
Summer. I think it has to be summer because it's everything's alive and everything's happening, and that's I suppose mm, maybe spring. Even though it's not my favorite season, but spring is sort of, I guess, representative of rebirth and creation. And creativity is kind of my whole thing. I'm all about being, creative. And I think, probably spring is probably the season that I guess most represents new birth and new creativity. So I guess spring, even though I love summer, summer's my favorite season. But for what represents me, spring, probably.
And your birthday is around springtime as well?
Not quite. It's actually winter. I'm actually a winter baby. I'm January the 10th, but yeah, I always feel like it's New Year, so it's sort of spring, even though technically it is in the middle of winter. But anyway.
Very good. Ready for the last question?
Yeah.
Last one. Let's do it. But before the last question, tell me how was growing up as a gay boy, in your opinion, for you, your experience, and also the day when you came out, did something happen or you just felt like, okay, I'm going to just be my true self from now on?
I think I've got quite a boring sort of, growing up and coming out story, really, because my parents, I think my whole childhood, I sort of think I knew I was gay, but I never sort of got picked on for it. It was very much, no one sort of assumed I was gay at any point. So I never had that kind of, I was outed before I decided to come out. So it was very much I just sort of processed it in my own time. And my parents, they were very, my parents are very, very liberal. They're super accepting. And I think when I told my parents, they were like, my dad said, well, actually, I was a bit nervous about how my dad would react. So I got my mum to tell him, and my dad said, well, it almost like pass the salt. What's the news? It's nothing. And he sort of, I think it was so unremarkable to him. He just didn't even care. He didn't even sort of register. It wasn't even a shock. He's just so chilled out about it. I think my mum was more sort of just because she wasn't, she asked sort of strange questions like, well, who do you fancy? Like Stephen Fry, Elton John? I was like, well, firstly, I fancy men, not just gay men. And that's also hilarious. That's the only two gay men you can think of. But she was lovely. She was lovely. They both were. But I think, coming out is very much a sort of process you do over time, really. I think you must come out every day when you meet new people and you have to do it. But now it's almost like a nothing thing for me. I just drop the fact that I've got a boyfriend in conversation. It doesn't sort of make my heart race or feel nervous about it. And I think I've been very lucky that throughout my life, I've never really experienced any kind of homophobia or any kind of hardship surrounding my sort of sexuality. And perhaps that influences my writing. Maybe I don't write about it so much because it's not something that I've actually experienced. But no, I've been quite lucky. I think that I've had a very untroubled life with my sexuality.
And which person in your family you are more close to?
I think in recent years I've become very, very close to my father because unfortunately my mother has Alzheimer's at the moment. She's developed that the last sort of 5 years, so she's very much changed as a person. I think she's been very close to my mum, and I think obviously my dad is now looking after her, and we've become much closer through that sort of shared process and sort of trying to help mum. So I've become. I mean, Dad's very, very similar to me in so many ways. It's almost I chat to him almost every day. The more as I get older, I start to look even more like him. So it's like there's no question if you look at the two of us together that I'm definitely his son. But no, I'm very, very close to my father now. Yeah.
And do you have siblings as well?
No, I'm an only child actually. So I've never. The idea of siblings is such quite an alien concept to me because I've never experienced that. So yeah, I'm just an only child.
Amazing. All right. Last question for you is: what is your least favorite chore?
Least favorite chore? Oh, tax returns. It's so boring and it takes forever and it's really hard to give to someone else to do because it's always so specific to you and it's the most boring thing ever. And I have to do every year. I'm self-employed and I'm a freelancer, so I have to do it every Christmas time because it's in January. You have to submit it. So when I go see my parents at Christmas, it's one of the horrible chores I have to do. You've got all the Christmas stuff happening. You're like, oh, I've got to spend about a whole day going through all my receipts and putting together my tax return. So that's easy. Tax return, most boring chore.
Amazing. Right, it's not the end yet. Let's play now the word association game, okay? I'm going to give away some words. Just tell one word that comes to your mind. Quick thinking, okay?
Okay.
So, I hope you are enjoying the interview. Before we do the word association game, don't forget to give a like. Don't forget to share this video. And also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Just click on the button right there. Thank you so much and enjoy the word association game.
I'll try.
Ooh. One word for family.
Parents.
Money.
Wealth.
Okay. Love.
Sex. don't know. That just came to mind.
And one word for sex.
Another word. Another word for what is that? Sorry.
One word for sex.
Love.
Life.
Passion.
Politics.
Complicated.
Religion.
Dangerous.
Fear.
Overcoming.
One word for friendship.
Companionship. So that's strange, but that's what came to mind.
Desire.
Lust.
Regrets.
History. I think,
Success.
Achieving.
Wish.
Fulfillment.
Happiness.
Creativity.
One word for London.
Busy.
One word for England.
Beautiful.
One word for filmmaker.
Challenging.
And one word, if you could define your project, your movie in one word, what that would be?
Family.
Amazing, amazing. Let's pretend I'm going to meet all your partners all together. Yeah, I'm going to meet all of them and I'm going to ask them, tell me what is the most beautiful thing about Matt, and tell me something that he still needs to work on, to improve on. What they would say?
I think they would say that I'm creative. It's such a big part of who I am. I'd hope that they would define me that way as well, because it's such a big part of my life to always be creating something. Things I could work on. I could probably have a better attention span. I feel like I struggle to really. I mean, even though I have made whole films and things like that, I think I can procrastinate and I can struggle to focus on something if I'm not enjoying it. And sometimes you have to do the boring parts of jobs to get the good things done. So yeah.
It's interesting saying that, Matt, because when I started doing the show, I contact one of my friends. He lives in Vienna, Austria. Actually, he's the one who created the name William the Magic Box, and he's been working on TV like for 25 years. And I was talking to him about the project. I had this idea, this and that, and I told him that's what I love is being here, doing the show, connect with my guests. And he said, of course, all the interviews need to be edited, this and that. And he said to me, William, you're gonna enjoy editing. And I was like, I cannot see myself editing, like spending hours and hours editing. Guess what? I love it.
Oh, really?
I love, oh my God, after he was so right, because I couldn't picture myself, because when I do the interview, I get so relaxed, I'm connecting, I'm talking to my guest. Yeah, but when I'm editing, that's where I see the interview properly, where I see the mistakes, where I see the most joy of it. That's when I see as a spectator, I'm watching the interview. I'm not making, I'm watching it. That's when I enjoy it. And he was so right. But in the beginning, I was like, oh my God, I cannot see myself editing. And it makes sense. It makes sense. The most you do, you just get used to. But there are bits and bits that you don't like at all. You know what I mean? You know very well.
I know very well. Yeah.
Right, let's play now, Matt, in the Magic Box, and you can ask me a question. Hey, Matt, from London, you can ask me a question now.
Okay, what do you think you've learned most from doing these interviews with people?
Great question, great question. Right, I think that what I've been learning the most is, it's very interesting, because at the same time, we are so different, so many people around the world, so many people already participate on the show, different backgrounds, different beliefs, different point of views. And I realized that we are very different, but at the same time as well, we are very similar, very. And I'll tell you why, because what I realized that all of us, we are here, living every day. We are, you are trying to achieve things in life. We are creating things. We are living a life. We are facing challenges. We are having great moments. But I think what I believe is all of us, we are trying to get to a better place. Mentally, spiritually, financially, anything. I think all of us, we are like driving to do something, you know what I mean? We want to be a better person. That's what I realized as well. It doesn't matter what you're, you know, aiming for, what you're doing, but I believe that what I realized that at the same time we are very different, we are very similar as well, because all of us, we are going in the same direction, and also we are in the same boat, you know what I mean? That's what I realized as well through those almost 900 interviews so far.
Wow, that's a lot.
Did you enjoy the interview, Matt?
It was great fun. Thank you so much for having me on.
Feel relaxed now? Was okay?
Yes, very relaxed. That was very good.
Before you go, if you can share a positive message or something that you live by.
Most people can achieve almost anything they put their mind to, and if someone says you can't, that's almost incentive to try and prove them wrong.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thanks so much, Matt. Thanks for taking your time. Thanks for the interview. It was a pleasure. Regards to your partners, and you keep in touch, okay?
Thank you very much.
Enjoy your evening. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, bye, bye.
So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why do you like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye bye, see you next time.